Hi guys, and welcome to lesson two in this little short set of lessons that we're going to do here on Greenfoot. And the last lesson we left what we had done was I had shown you how to make subclasses. Okay, so we had this my world was a subclass of world, and we had created two actors. Okay, so ant is an actor and the hamburger is an actor. Okay, so that's where we were. And I had also shown you, if we go to the code here for the My World, I had shown you how we used the add object method. Okay, the add object method of the world class. Remember, each class has its own set of methods. And we used the add object method of the world class to add in two ants and a hamburger. And so this is what our screen looked like. So every time we reset our game, okay, it doesn't matter what everything is. If when we restart the game, everything goes back to the same place, and the place it goes to is these exact coordinates that we have put in there. I will show you later on how we randomize that. Obviously, we don't want everything in a game starting in the same place. So today what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how we get stuff to move. Okay, so let's start off with an ant. Okay, so I double click ant over here and I open up my code. Okay, and I can put in this here as just, I can put here creates an ant object. That's what it does. And you can put your name in there, and you can just put like a version number of your program. So mine is, let's say, version 0.1, and then I can put today's date, say 13 May 2020. Okay, so that's just documentation. Okay, so that's, so if someone comes and picks up your program, they know what this does. Okay, so here is the code that creates the ant. You can see here we create a class called ant, okay, and it extends actor. Okay, so we know that ant is a subclass. Okay, it has extended the actor class. That's what we call it. And that's important because that means that the ant has inherited all the things that an actor can do. Okay, and I showed you this before when we went to help and we said Greenfoot class documentation. Okay, so if we click on there, we end up getting this document here. Okay, and that shows us what all the classes and what they can do. So if I go to an actor, remember these here are all the methods that an actor can do. And because the ant is an actor, each ant has inherited all of this knowledge. Okay, we don't have to do all this coding. The ant has inherited all of this from its parent actor. And that's quite important. Right, so let's go back to this here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get the ant to move. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click over there and I'm just going to enter down. So I've just made myself some space at the top here. Okay, I'm inside the squiggly bracket. Okay, let me just put this up here so that there's a bit more room on the screen. Okay, so I'm inside. Okay, remember that squiggly bracket is the start of the class, and that closing squiggly bracket closes that. You'll see they are above each other. And if yours are not above each other, you can go to edit and auto layout. Okay, so if you click auto layout, that will fix the indentation for you, and you'll see that the brackets are above the brackets. Okay. Excuse me. Right, we want to make this ant move. Okay, so remember, back in lesson 1, I told you that an object consists of two things: methods, which I've shown you just before this, and properties, the things that make the ant an ant. And one of the properties that our ant must have is it must have a speed. Okay, how fast is this ant going to walk? So we need to declare, so I'm going to say int. Okay, int is short for integer. So I'm going to say int speed. Okay, that's the name of my variable, the name of my property. And I'm going to say it equals 5. So I'm going to give the ant a speed of 5. Okay, that's 5 pixels. Okay, so that there declares a speed property for the ant. Good. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make my ant move. Okay, so here in this ant class, Greenfoot has automatically made this act method. Okay, this public void act. There's an act method here. Now, really, it's this act method that makes Greenfoot Greenfoot. Okay, it's what makes Greenfoot so good at doing games, because essentially what happens is this act method is going to run over and over and over like a forever loop. Okay, remember in Scratch we had a forever loop. In Alice we had a forever loop. And the same thing here. Okay, so this is going to run whatever code you put inside this act method. It's going to run over and over and over around about 60 times a second. Okay, and that is governed by this speed bar here. Okay, so if you leave that in the middle, okay, it runs at about 60 frames per second. So this act method, whatever you put in here, is going to run about 60 times per second. Right, so we want our ant to move. So inside the act method, okay, I'm going to say move. Okay, and if I go here to the documentation, okay, and I go to actors, which I'm on, you'll see if I look down here, there is move. Okay, that it's a built-in method. I didn't just make that up. Okay, and you can see the description says, move this actor the specified distance in the direction it is currently facing. So it is expecting me to give it a distance, okay, that it must move. That's what it's expecting inside the brackets. Okay, that's why it's got a red underline here. If I hold my mouse over there, it's telling me that I've got an error. You can see it's put a brown mark in the margin and it's underlined it in red, and it's saying add actor cannot be applied to given types. It's because it's looking for what they call arguments, okay, inside the bracket. And how far do I want it to move? Well, I want it to move speed. Okay, so I could have put 5 in there. Okay, but I might want to change the speed while the program is running. So I'm not going to put a number in there. I'm going to use my variable here, my property. Okay, so that's how fast I want it to move. So it's going to move speed 60 times a second. It's going to move. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to say compile. Okay, I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to compile. Okay, that, like I told you before, changes it into machine language. Okay, this here is nice human readable, but that's useless for a computer. The computer wants ones and zeros. So we have to compile our program, or Greenfoot will do it for us. It'll compile it into machine language. Okay, ones and zeros that the machine can run for us. So let's go back here. Okay, so let's reset our game and let's say run, and there go the ants. Okay, so I'll reset it again and off they go. Run. So it's move 60 times a second. So we can move the ants. Okay, the ants can move just using this move, the built-in move method. Okay, so now let's see what I'm going to do with a hamburger. Okay, so in a game like this, okay, so once again I go here and I fill in the documentation. So I'm just going to say create hamburger objects. And I'm going to put my name there. And I'm going to give it a version number. Put today's date. Okay. So in a game like this, you would expect this game to be something like this. We would drive the ant around. Okay, so like we are going to be an ant, and we are going to steer it around. We will use the arrow keys to steer the ant around and try and eat the hamburger. But that's boring. Okay, we're not going to do that. In our game here, what's happened is the hamburger got exposed to radioactivity, and the hamburger is now alive, and the hamburger is going to go and chase the ants. Okay, so ours is completely the opposite way around. We will be the radioactive hamburger that's going to prey on the ants. So let's do that. Okay, so first things first. Okay, I'm going to make some space here. Okay, inside the squiggly. Okay, remember there's the start of the class. There's the end of the class. Okay, we use squiggly brackets to put blocks of code in. And the first thing I want to do is I want to define a speed for my hamburger. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's say speed equals 3. So I've given my hamburger a speed. So now the next thing I can do, of course, is I can come down here and I could say move. Well, I can say move speed. Okay. So if I compile my program again, and I come here and I run it, now obviously the ants are moving at 5, but the hamburger is moving at speed 3. That's why it's a little bit slower. So what I need to do is, I don't want the hamburger to do that. I want to be able to steer the hamburger around. Okay, that's what I want to be able to do. So I'm not just going to say move. I want to do a little bit more than that. I want to look and see if I've pushed one of the arrow keys. Okay, so here you remember once again in Scratch, I showed you how to do if else's, how to ask a question. Okay, so this is called conditional branching. We ask a question, and depending on whether the answer to our question is true or false, one of two options can be taken. So here I'm going to say if. Okay, so what question am I going to ask? Let's go back to our Greenfoot Bible here. We'll go back to package, and I will show you here in the Greenfoot class. Okay, remember I said to you we would use actors, worlds, and Greenfoot. So if I click on Greenfoot, here is key down. Okay, that looks like a very nice candidate for us to use, because that's going to check whether we have pressed a certain key. Okay, so is key down. Excellent. So we are going to use that. So we're going to say if Greenfoot.is key down. Okay, now the reason I had to write Greenfoot in front in front of that is, remember at the moment I am an actor. Okay, I am coding as a hamburger. So I'm coding as a hamburger. So I'm in an actor class. And I know that is key down is not an actor method. It's a Greenfoot method. Okay, so because it's not an actor method, I have to tell it which class to go and look for that command. So I had to put Greenfoot dot in front of is key down. Okay, so I'm saying if is key down is true. Okay, so I have pushed a key. So that's what this is saying here. If Greenfoot is key down equals true. So I'm going to go here and say a key has been pressed. Okay, so I'm not interested in just any key. I'm looking for a specific key. Okay, so inside the brackets, I say left. Okay, so that's saying, has the left arrow key been pressed? Okay, so has the left arrow key been pressed? So if the answer to that is yes, if it's true, what do I want to happen? Well, I want the hamburger to rotate anti-clockwise. Okay, so the left key is going to make it turn to the left. So if I go once again back to my Greenfoot Bible and I go to the actor class, because that's what I am, I'm a hamburger, and I can look down here and you can see there's a turn. Okay, there's a built-in method called turn. So I can use that. Okay, so I'm going to use the turn method. So I'm going to say turn. Okay, how much do I want to turn by? Well, I want to turn by, let's say, minus 5 degrees. That's going to turn me 5 degrees anti-clockwise. And it's going to do it 60 times a second. Okay, remember, I'm inside the act method here. So now I'm going to say else if. Okay, I'm going to ask another question here. Greenfoot dot is key down equals true. Okay, and this time I'm looking to see, has the right arrow been pressed? Okay, has the right arrow key been pressed? So inside the brackets here is going to be yes. If it has been pressed, what do I want to happen? Well, I want it to turn, but this time I want it to turn by 5, not minus 5. Okay, I want it to turn by 5 degrees clockwise. Okay. So that is if I've pressed a key. And I'm going to say move speed. So the hamburger is just going to move. Okay, you will see here, it's the act. Remember, this here is going over and over and over. So whatever I put in between those squiggly brackets, it's the act method. So it's running 60 times a second. So it's saying, if I've pressed the left key, turn 5 degrees clockwise. If I've pressed the right key, turn 5 degrees clockwise. Whether I have or have not pressed a key, it does not matter. It's still going to move forward by that amount. Okay, it's going to move by that amount. Let's compile. So I'm going to compile that. I'm going to come back to my program. I'm going to say run. And now I can steer my hamburger around. Okay, it's looking to see if I've pressed the key. And if I've pushed the left key, it's changing its heading. But you'll see it continuously moves. Okay, that we know it's going to do that because we told it to do that. It's going to move anyway. Okay, move is in the main loop here. This checks to see which key I've pressed. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do for this lesson. Okay, I wanted to show you how to move. Okay, so you can see here we have a move inside of our ant. Okay, and you can see we've created a variable. Okay, so we made a variable and we used it inside there. We know that the act method runs over and over and over and over 60 times a second. That's what it does. And in the hamburger, inside the act method, you can see here I defined a speed for it. And then inside the act method, we checked to see if a key had been pressed. If it did, we turned. And then we moved anyway in whatever direction we are facing. Okay, so try and experiment with that. See if you can maybe make the ants bounce off the edge of the screen or something. Just try something interesting. But I've shown you how to use some of the methods, and we will do something. We will add to this game in lesson 3. So I hope you had some fun with this, and I'll see you next time.